People say that the stands of any football ground are a microcosm of society, reflecting the city in which it exists. The good, the bad, the tension, the release, the failures, the redemption. Copa Fam, we're in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, a city once known as the murder capital of the world, and we're following a football club once caught in the crossfire of the American war on drugs. Here we are on the banks of the Rio Grande, which defines the US-Mexican border between Juarez and El Paso. Life as a border town has meant that drug trafficking and cartel violence have put Juarez on the map for all the wrong reasons. News coming out of Juarez for years was rife with violence and homicides. In a city desperately fighting to restore its reputation, football, and specifically FC Juarez, have become a beacon of hope. So Juarez is a notorious town. How did it get this reputation?
By killing people. When I was here in 2010, they were killing about 10 people a day on average, every day. Like every day you would open the newspaper and there'd just be 10 more rather random, anonymous killings. And it was surreal. I mean, it had a notorious reputation before I got here, and that's sort of why I came here. I was fascinated by how a city that could have that much killing could function. And it was almost a price of residency in the city at that time.
Because, it was a lot of insecurity, a lot of murders, a lot of kidnappings, a lot of extortions, so it was very, very bad.
No era porque alguien de ahí se estuviera portando mal o que estuviera delinquiendo, vaya, sino que era estar en el momento equivocado a la hora equivocada, eso era todo.
La violencia se salió de control y llegó hasta el instante en el que no salíamos de nuestras casas.
From like 2009 to 2012, there's like something like 35,000 murders.
We had like the perfect storm, where you had, on one end unemployment, on the other end you have this new group of organized crime coming in to fight for our territory.
Juarez is a very strategically nice city for transporting drugs.
Muchos de los jóvenes veían más el perfil del narcotraficante, querer ser eso.
Secuestraron a muchachas que iban a trabajar en las fábricas, las metieron al crimen organizado, cuando no fueron útiles las mataron.
I had a map on my wall, and I would put a red dot when there was a killing, and I stopped after like a month. It was the whole city. It touched everybody. It was the murder capital of the world in 2010. Well, I stabbed a man, dressed him up as a cop, knowing that all the cops would come, and then when the cops showed up, they blew up his car bomb. And it was just unbelievable crime, and yet by that time, I'd been living there for almost a year. It was just sort of casual. It was just like, oh wow, hey, look, car bomb. You don't see that every day. And then I went home and I didn't even think about it. In Juarez, when I was there, like murder was almost legal. You could do it and get away with it. They would not investigate the murder. And everyone knew, like you could murder someone if you wanted to.
Around the same time as the troubles began, Juarez was represented in top-flight Mexican football by a team known as Indios, although their stay was marred by poor performances, mismanagement that reflected the disarray of the city.
Well, they were the Indios. They were this minor league team that a man here bought and said he was going to rise to the top league, and nobody believed him. And then right when the city started devolving into this incredibly violent Hobbesian hellhole, the team had its greatest success and kind of miraculously rose to the top division.
Era nuestro escape al día del juego. Ese día sabíamos que nos podíamos olvidar un poquito de toda la violencia.
Indios was like this amazing team that fought against the best clubs in Mexico, and it was like a little hope for Juarez. It was like the only hope they had.
The only time Juarez was mentioned on the news without the words bloody or violent or murderous.
First of all, they get the success, they went to the first league, and then the same year, they went back again.
It was impossible to think of having a soccer club. People were just, everybody just did like the essentials, like go to work, go to school, and just everybody in their house locked away,
It was the youth coach of the Indios team, or the youth team. He got murdered in a cell phone store. Like, no one thinks he was in a cartel, no one thinks he was a drug dealer. I had thought when I came over to Juarez, I thought the team must have been isolated from the violence. It was only bad guys killing bad guys, and yet that was an example of how the violence touched everyone. In 2010, which is when the violence was at its worst, the team was also in its kind of death spiral. They were dropping out. They were on a path to relegation, and then they folded right after that.
But as the town strived to turn their reputation around, out of the ashes of Indios came FC Juarez. Led by the De La Vega family and a commitment to repairing the social fabric of their town, the team is ushering in a new era of hope for the community.
Now we are 5 families that will support this team, that we have a lot of determination to do good for the soccer in Juarez, and nobody's going to stop us. We are a great organization, we are great businesses support this team, and we have the best people, and we think that we are doing this for good and for long.
To me, football is I see it like Las Chivas it's not yours. See, although you are the owner supposedly, but it belongs to the people.
These guys are back because they want soccer in the city, and having soccer in your city is a sign of life. It was called the civic vitamin, like the one good thing in Juarez that works.
We knew a new club was coming to Juarez. It was the best news. Football again, like everyone was we had this phrase would say volveremos, like we'll come back, and we did, like Juarez is back.
So our commitment is to give to the people of Juarez, to our fans. So we have to give this back to the city because we belong to the city.
En fin, somos una ciudad deportista y ahora tenemos una nueva cara al mundo y la queremos compartir con todos ustedes.
The people, they've given you their support, but in turn, you've given them hope.
The people know that we go through that bad part of the Juarez. Now, the soccer, the Bravos, give us hope. And when you give us hope to the people, and the people get that hope, everything starts working different.
With football, hope came back again, so that's what FC Juarez did for the city.
Que nosotros volvemos a soñar, volvemos a decirle a los jóvenes que crean en el proyecto, que sueñen que vuelvan a soñar con un día estar en la cancha, con un día poder debutar.
Yo quiero de una forma inspirarlos para que ellos quieran ser mejor futbolistas, deportistas, darles esa inspiración a ellos para que vean que sí se puede tener cosas grandes en la vida, que no todo es a la manera fácil como se los presupuestaban en ese momento los narcotraficantes.
Right away, out of the gate, they had a great first season, and people of Juarez are grateful for that. It's exciting to watch a team achieve something, especially when it's in a city that you care about.
But it's food for the soul, no? Human beings don't just eat, work, And we were at that point where Juarez was safe enough. We went from being the murder capital of the world to being out of the 50 most dangerous cities to being out of the list.
The murder rate is way down. There's American cities like St. Louis that are more violent now than Juarez.
Success came almost immediately for FC Juarez. Only 7 months after being founded, they had already won their first Ascenso title. But, such is Mexican football, it doesn't guarantee them promotion.
Because you have 2 tournaments, and you have to win the 2 tournaments to be in the first league. And now that we were champions of the last playoffs of the last season, now we have the half of the ticket to be in the near league. If we get the championship again, we go directly because we have both of the half of the tickets. But if we don't do that, we have the half of the ticket, and we are going to play the final to go to the first league.
No, you should have seen in the final, the 5th of December. I mean, just the happiness in people's faces, just the possibility that the team gave him, just this energy of thinking, it's possible, I can do it, we're champions.
This is the first time that happened in the soccer history in Mexico, that in the first tournament, a new team, a new franchise, a new name, get success that we were the champions of the tournament.
We're getting that reputation back again as fighters, as a city that fights, as a city that it doesn't give up. And well, I mean, football, the Bravos, now it's part of it to help us make that reputation look good again.
Football is sometimes like magic. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And I think in this case, we were very fortunate that just things kind of, slid in and it happened.
The supporters group known as El Cartel have taken back the stigma surrounding their city and have played a crucial role in supporting their club. As a city looking for redemption, they play such an important role in bringing the community back to the football ground.
They're called El Cartel, which I believe to be wonderful. It started as their tongue-in-cheek way to embrace the worst reputation of Juarez. Like we're all cartel, we're all drug traffickers, and to try to take ownership of it.
O sea, no éramos el cartel de los malos, éramos el cartel de los buenos.
It's a very interesting relationship because they want to be the rebels, the barra brava, like you have some football clubs, but they want a team. And you can see it in their heart, no? They really want a team. And so I think that's where we connect.
Para nosotros se ha convertido un estilo de vida.
Y yo venía a apoyar al equipo de indios de primera división. Y yo me acuerdo que le dije a él, ¿sabes qué? Yo quiero un día estar allá adentro, yo no quiero estar acá, yo quiero estar allá adentro. Ahora que yo debuté, me trajeron una manta con mi número, el 18, y yo creo que esa fecha es memorable para tanto la barra.
This guy, Federico de la Vega, he came and he put this team of people together to create this new club. Tell me about him.
Well, talk about Federico de la Vega is to talk about the greatest guy. It was like a dream come true because his vision, his passion. He told us in the beginning of the last season, he told us, I want this team in the first year, in the first league. And how can I tell you that when we win, 15 days later, he died.
So they sang their song and put out this humongous manta, and it was beautiful.
Federico de la Vega, donde quiera que tú estés, vamos a regresar a primera. Was a great song.
We were so thankful, and that's, I think, the least thing we could do for him. We were telling him we were going to be back wherever he is.
Y bueno, pues nosotros somos una ciudad exitosa, vamos a ser los campeones. Con mucha pena para otros equipos, pero vamos a ser los campeones nacionales.
Football has a magical way of bringing together people that maybe would not have a conversation.
Poco a poco hemos salido adelante en base pues, a trabajo, en base a dedicación, a más amor hacia nuestra ciudad, perder más ese miedo a salir a las calles.
We need our colors. We need to fight together in sports, no, in a good way.
I like to think of the football team as more of a canary in a coal mine thing. The fact that it's here and it's thriving is a sign of vitality. I don't know if football has made the city vital, but the fact that there is a team now and they're supporting the team is only a sign of health for the city.
Being in Juarez was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Coming from across the border, you often hear stories of drugs and violence, but seeing the collective humanity of the players, the owners, and the fans just gives you a new hope for what they can become. They've come so far to achieve their dreams, but there's one last hurdle to clear. Hopefully they get it done because it'll mean so much for the community and the city. Football is thriving, the city is thriving, so don't believe everything you hear in the news.